My wife claimed her infidelity was her reward for motherhood, so I gave her a taste of her own medicine. I'm a 42-year-old man, and if you asked me a year ago, I would have said my life was stable: work, marriage, kids, the usual grind. Nothing extraordinary, but it worked, or so I thought. My wife and I have been married for 15 years, and we have 2 kids, ages 10 and 8. I'm not the flashy type. I work as an engineer and focus on providing for my family, and I've always been a hands-on dad. My wife, on the other hand, took pride in staying home, managing the household, and occasionally indulging in hobbies that seemed more like expensive distractions than anything else. The cracks in our marriage began to show subtly: missed conversations, disinterest, and eventually, avoidance. I chalked it up to the monotony of life. But then came the bombshell. It started one lazy Saturday. The kids were at a friend's house, and I was cleaning up after breakfast when my wife's phone buzzed on the counter. Normally, I wouldn't snoop, but the preview on the screen caught my attention. Last night was amazing. Can't wait for the next one. My heart sank. I stared at the message, debating whether to unlock her phone. The code was one I knew. She hadn't changed it. I clicked on the message thread, and my worst fears were confirmed. She was having an affair. The messages weren't just flirty. They were explicit, detailing encounters over the past 6 months. The man, who I'll call Jay, was someone she'd met through a mutual friend. Apparently, their so-called coffee chats had escalated into hotel rendezvous. I scrolled further and found a message from her that made my blood boil. I deserve this. After all, motherhood has been so draining. This is my reward for everything I've sacrificed. I felt rage and betrayal coursing through me, but I kept my composure. Exploding wouldn't fix this. I decided to confront her, but not without a plan. I took screenshots of the messages, forwarded them to my email, and deleted any trace of my activity on her phone. That evening, when the kids were asleep, I sat her down. "We need to talk." She barely glanced up from her tablet. "What now?" "I know about Jay," I said flatly, placing her phone on the table between us. Her face froze, but only for a moment. Then she let out a scoff. "You're spying on me now? Real mature." "Cut the deflection," I snapped. "I saw the messages. Don't even try to deny it." Instead of remorse, she leaned back and crossed her arms. "You don't get it. Do you know how exhausting it is to be a mother and a wife? I've given up everything for this family. For you. I needed something for myself." "Something for yourself?" I repeated, stunned. "Cheating on your husband is your idea of self-care?" She shrugged. "You wouldn't understand." Her apathy hit me harder than the affair itself. There was no apology, no regret, just entitlement. "You've given up everything?" I said, my voice cold. "Do you think I haven't sacrificed? I work long hours, provide for this family, and still make time for the kids. But sure, you're the victim here." She rolled her eyes. "This isn't about you. I've been stuck in this routine for years. Motherhood, housework, being your wife, it's all too much. I needed an escape." "An escape," I echoed. "So, instead of talking to me, you decided to betray me?" "You're overreacting," she said dismissively. "It's not like I'm leaving you. I'm still here, aren't I?" That was the moment I realized there was no saving this. Her nonchalant attitude made it clear she didn't respect me, our marriage, or our family. But instead of blowing up, I forced myself to think rationally. If she could justify infidelity as her reward, then she needed to face real consequences. I didn't sleep that night. While she went to bed without a care in the world, I stayed up researching my options. Divorce wasn't just a decision, it was a strategy. I needed to protect myself, my kids, and my assets. First, I reached out to a lawyer friend to discuss my situation. "Gather as much evidence as you can," he advised. "And don't let her know you're planning anything. The element of surprise is your greatest weapon." Over the next few weeks, I became an actor in my own life. I pretended everything was fine, even though the sight of her made me sick. I secretly collected evidence, screenshots of messages, bank statements, in case she was funneling money, and even receipts from her lunches with Jay. I also made sure to spend more time with my kids, reinforcing my bond with them. If things got messy, I wanted to ensure I'd have custody on my side. Then came the turning point. One evening, while going through some paperwork, I found something that nearly made me lose my composure. Tucked away in her drawer was a draft of a separation agreement. In it, she'd outlined terms that were laughably one-sided. She wanted the house, full custody of the kids, and spousal support. The audacity was staggering. She wasn't just hedging her bets. She was planning to gut me financially while playing the victim. That's when I decided it was time to strike back. But I wasn't going to stop at divorce. If she thought she could play dirty, I'd show her just how far I was willing to go to protect myself. I met with my lawyer to finalize my strategy. We're not just filing for divorce, I told him. I want to ensure she doesn't get away with this. Not legally, not financially, not in any way. He nodded. We'll make sure you're protected, but you need to stay calm and stick to the plan. No outbursts, no tipping her off. The first step was securing all joint accounts. I transferred my savings to a personal account under my name, leaving enough for household expenses so it wouldn't look suspicious. Next, I documented every instance of her infidelity and her reckless financial behavior. I even hired a private investigator to gather concrete evidence of her affair with Jay, including photographs and logs of their meetups. Then came the setup. I waited for her to leave for one of her appointments, and while she was gone, I had a locksmith change the locks on the house. I packed her belongings into boxes and left them neatly in the garage. I didn't want her to twist this into a domestic violence claim or play the victim. Everything I did was calculated, precise, and legally sound. When she returned, the look on her face was priceless. "What the hell is this?" she shouted, banging on the door. I opened it just enough to hand her an envelope containing the divorce papers. "You wanted your reward," I said calmly. "Congratulations. You're free to enjoy it." Her face turned red. "You're seriously doing this? Over a few texts?" "Don't insult my intelligence," I replied. "I know everything. The affair, the separation agreement you drafted, your little plan to take everything from me. It's over." She tried to barge in, but I blocked the door. "You can't just kick me out of my own house," she screamed. "This isn't your house," I said firmly. "It's mine. The deed is in my name. And in case you're thinking of challenging that, I have evidence of your infidelity and financial misconduct. Good luck in court." Her demeanor shifted. She went from angry to pleading in seconds. Wait. Let's talk about this. We can work it out." "There's nothing to work out," I said. "You made your choices. Now live with them." She called me heartless, accused me of being controlling, and even tried to guilt-trip me by bringing up the kids. But I didn't budge. I had already arranged for temporary custody and was prepared for a legal battle if she tried to contest it. The next few weeks were chaotic. She tried to paint herself as the victim to friends and family, but my evidence spoke louder than her lies. Once the photos from the investigator surfaced, even her staunchest supporters backed off. Her lover, Jay, didn't stick around either. As soon as things got messy, he ghosted her. Her attempts to manipulate the narrative fell apart quickly. She had underestimated how far I was willing to go to protect myself and my kids. The court proceedings were straightforward, thanks to the overwhelming evidence I had gathered. The judge ruled in my favor, granting me full custody of the children and ensuring she received no spousal support. Her affair and financial mismanagement sealed her fate. But I wasn't done. There was one final act of closure I needed. I sold the house, the very symbol of our broken marriage, and used the proceeds to start fresh. I purchased a new home closer to my work and my kids' school. The house was smaller, but it was ours, free from the taint of betrayal. As for my now ex-wife, her life unraveled. With no financial support from me and her reputation in tatters, she struggled to maintain the lifestyle she was accustomed to. Her friends distanced themselves, and her lover was nowhere to be found. She tried to reach out to me multiple times, begging for reconciliation, but I never responded. I had nothing left to say to her. Looking back, I don't regret how I handled things. Some people might say I was ruthless, but when someone betrays you so thoroughly, you owe them nothing. My priority was and always will be my children. They're thriving now, and our home is filled with laughter and peace, two things that were missing for far too long. If there's one lesson I've learned, it's this: never let someone else define your worth or control your narrative. Stand up for yourself, even when it's hard. And if someone tries to play games with your life, make sure they lose. If you enjoyed this story of karmic justice, hit that subscribe button. Life's too short for bad relationships and missed drama.